Hotline Miami is one of, if not the single most influential indie game that I can think of. There are a lot of references about this game in other games to do just how influential it was. And it just so happens that today is Hotline Miami 2's 10th anniversary. In case you didn't know, Hotline Miami 2 was the final game in the series. So, for its 10th anniversary, I'm going to look at both games from start to finish. Starting, of course, with the very basics.
This guy shot the hell out of me.
What you're seeing right now is a video uploaded to Hotline Miami's publisher, Devolver Digital's YouTube channel, of Dennis and Jonathan playing Super Carnage.
Concentrate!
Yeah, dude, what is up? I killed the aborted beaver.
Why is he naked?
Super Carnage is essentially Hotline Miami 0.5 and its spiritual predecessor. It was made using Game Maker 5 and it is a whopping 3 whole megabytes. It's a pretty simple prototype. A man wakes up in a bathroom, kills everybody, and leaves. That's about it. Obviously, it's just a prototype to show what the full game would look like, but there are a couple of interesting things about it. For example, cut weapons.
Mentioned some of the ideas you had, I'm pretty excited about it.
While most of the weapons made it over to the full game, others didn't. Examples include grenades.
Pretty interesting. Was
Cut for
grenades, and why'd you take grenades out of the game?
Didn't fit the style of the game. Wanted to keep it more low-key with just weapons that fit in with the theme of the game.
the wooden plank, the minigun, which was way too OP.
In a little bit, I don't want to necessarily get into it, but you mentioned some of the ideas you had. I'm pretty excited about it, just because it's going to be...
And the RPG. This prototype also had only one map. This map would actually kinda make it to the final game, in the form of Full House. This is Cocaine Cowboy. Cocaine Cowboy was Hotline Miami's, how do you say it? Code name. It is a series of 10 levels made to test the game. Obviously, as you can see, it now looks like Hotline Miami, but if you pay close attention, you can actually find a lot of differences. The song playing in the background is Lady. For example, Jacket is bald. You could also shoot through walls. This is a feature that actually made it to the final game in the form of one level. Almost all the sound effects were changed. There was only one execution, no matter what your weapon is. And finally, enemies used the combination of both Russian sprites and gangster sprites from Hotline Miami 2. This is the Decadence build, the final build before Hotline Miami finally released. As you can see, it is almost identical to the final release, except for just some slight dialogue changes. While the level The Metro is pretty much skipped, you just grab the bag and instantly leave. The rest of the levels up until Decadence are actually pretty much identical to the final game. And while you do have masks, they were only testing out the system and they don't actually give you any special effects. But other than that, this build is the exact same as the final game, which we're about to head into right now. actually tried making this video when I played the game originally, but the quality just wasn't the best, and I ended up scrapping most of it. I only posted a small clip that I managed to salvage, but now that I have more experience under my belt, I came back for a second time. So sit back, relax, and let's begin. The game starts off with a tutorial, narrated by a homeless man. You're given the very basics of the game. Left click to swing and shoot, right click to throw your weapons and knock down enemies, space bar to execute downed enemies with a special animation, and most importantly, shift to zoom. Trust me, while it doesn't appear to be important, this is an essential game mechanic, because without it you can be shot by an enemy that's off screen. With the tutorial out of the way, the true game starts. The game starts off with our playable character in a dark room. This is Jacket, our protagonist of the start. Now, as this video goes on, you're gonna notice that no characters are actually named in dialogue. The only way we know the names of these characters is either by looking at the game's sprites, or if they're just commonly dubbed by the community. Jacket steps forward and meets three people: Richard, Don Juan, and Rasmus, all named after the masks they are wearing. After addressing Jacket, who appears to have amnesia, Richard tells him that April 3rd was the day they met, the day everything started. We then transition to that day. We open on April 3rd, 1989, in Jacket's apartment, and immediately we can see some of the problems in Jacket's life. The apartment is empty except for the base necessities, and as we see later, progressively gets dirtier and dirtier. This is a sign of just how hollow Jacket's life is, but we'll get to all that later. For now, Jacket picks up the phone.
Hi, this is Tim at the bakery. The cookies that you ordered should be delivered by now. A list of ingredients are included. Make sure that you read them carefully.
A weird call at first, but when Jacket opens the box, there's a rooster mask inside, Richard, and a letter with a very different tone compared to the phone call.
The target is a briefcase. Discretion is of the essence. Leave target at point F32 inside the dumpster. Failure is not an option. We will be watching you.
It's a threat, and Jacket has no option but to submit. Who these people are will be revealed later, but for now, just don't think about it. The metro is the game's prelude. It features only melee enemies, and while it's super easy due to being an extra tutorial, it teaches you the most important element of Hotline Miami: zoom. The game is genuinely unplayable without it. Hotline Miami enemies are Russian mafia gangsters. The way enemies are coded, depending on your luck, they will either leave you with a few seconds to react, or will instantly rush you down and kill you. This can get pretty unfair sometimes. Locating the briefcase owner, Jacket kills him and leaves. On the way down, two gangsters hop down from the metro and rush you. The briefcase swing isn't lethal, so you have to knock them down first by swinging, then execute them by smashing their face in. Leaving the metro, Jacket heads over to the location written and drops off the briefcase. After dropping it off, you get ambushed by the same homeless man that narrated your intro, who's just called Bum in the game files. Even though he has a baseball bat, he's not really much of a threat. An important detail to note here is that this is the only death in the whole game that Jacket actually reacts to, throwing up after killing the bum, since he had no role to play in the grand scheme of things. I'm not gonna call him innocent since he did just charge at us with a baseball bat, but he was just a random nobody who Jacket was forced to kill, and he didn't feel justifiable. Something I haven't mentioned yet is the score. Depending on how you completed a level, you'll be rewarded a score and a title. Depending on your score, you can be given either a new mask or a new weapon. At the end of each level, Jacket visits a shop, pizza place, or bar, all run by his friend, Beard. Again, he has no in-game name, and that's just what the community calls him. After a quick chat, Jacket grabs a snack and leaves. Another new day. On the table, you can read a patriotic news subscription service the Jacket has subscribed to.
Thank you for subscribing to our newsletter. We appreciate your trust in our cause. America is a tune that must be sung together.
Getting our new mission, we head off to the second chapter.
Hello, it's Linda. I need a babysitter right away. Got a few kids that need to be disciplined here. I'm at East 7th Street. Make sure you have a long talk with them. I really need someone to get through to these rascals. And like last time, please be discreet.
No Talk is a small level, a single floor with just a few mobsters. This level also introduces us to guns. The machine gun and shotgun enemies are a hit or miss. They can easily be lured out, but they are extremely deadly since the way Hotline Miami works, a single bullet will kill you. And the AI on these can be absolutely brutal. Jacket goes to get a pizza and goes home. Starting from chapter 3, Jacket receives newspapers from the newscast that he subscribed to. This one reveals that Jacket's murders are becoming a huge sensation. Getting his order, we move on.
This is Thomas from the Methadone Clinic. We've scheduled a small meeting for you tonight. We're at Northwest 184th Street, apartment 105. And don't worry, we know discretion is of importance to our clients.
Overdose is a bit of a challenge compared to the previous levels. It introduces windows. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but trust me, windows, especially in Hotline Miami 2, are going to become a huge pain. Enemies can see you and shoot you if you spotted through them, and they're very easy to miss. This level also allows shooting through thin walls. This is a cut content feature, back from the Cocaine Cowboy demo. Back at Beard's VHS shop, it's becoming clear that Jacket is attracting more and more attention. The newspaper confirms that all of the mobsters are gang related. This time, instead of a mafia house, the target is a famous producer in his villa.
Hi, it's Kate from Hotline Miami's dating service. We have set up a date for you this evening. She'll be waiting for you at Southwest 53rd Place. As usual, make sure you're wearing something fancy.
Decadence is the final chapter of Act 1. Not only is this the biggest level so far, it's also the hardest. It's a combination of quick reaction, door camping, and pre-planning. You can also see the producer watching everything happen with a drugged woman next to him. I don't think I need to tell you what kind of producer he is. After killing the last enemy, this happens. The producer is the first boss you meet. He's wearing a bulletproof vest and is completely immune to melee and machine guns. Constantly knows where you are and will one-shot you with a left hook so strong it snaps your neck like a biscuit. In order to defeat him, you need to shoot him 3 times with a shotgun. After which, he will try to plead his life with Jacket. He dies by getting both of his eyes gouged out. The player then rescues the girl who thinks Jacket has come to kill her. Jacket then rescues her and Act 1 ends here. Meeting up with Beard at the bar, he comments that the streets are becoming unsafe, and after handing him a drink, Jacket leaves. We return to Juan, Richard and Rasmus. This time, we know what Jacket has done and more importantly, we know who these people are. Girlfriend, the one wearing the Juan mask, is caring and doesn't want Jacket to remember what he did to shield him from the truth. The name Don Juan is a reference to the fictional 17th Spanish character Don Juan, a character played in many theaters and mostly known for sexualizing women. Rasmus, dressed as a mobster, is the most hostile of the trio, yelling at Jacket to get out, which, considering he represents the people who Jacket kills, it makes sense. And finally, Richard the Rooster represents Jacket himself and all of the loathing and hatred he keeps bubbled inside him. After a brief conversation, Richard gives Jacket 4 questions to answer next time they meet. Do you like hurting other people? Who are leaving messages in your answering machine? Where are we right now? And why are we having this conversation? Back in the real world, it's now May 5th and Jacket is taking care of Girlfriend. Now her real name is not given, however, considering how her relationship with Jacket is, Girlfriend is a very fitting name given to her by the community. The phone call mentions someone being sent out but failing to fix the power outage.
Good evening, this is Blake speaking. We have a job for you. There is a power outage over on 24th Northwest Street. We want you to take care of it. We already sent someone over a while ago, but it seems he didn't do a very good job. Head over there right away. They're expecting you. Keep it quick and clean.
Tension is the first chapter of Act 2 and it immediately introduces the worst enemy of the game, the dogs. They are immune to fists without the Tony mask, which also plays another role in this level, and the moment they spot Jacket they will instantly chase him down and rip his throat out. Always take priority with the dogs, always. Going up to the 2nd floor, there is a man tied up wearing the Tony mask, presumably another agent like us. I'm sure we can just go right inside and nothing bad will happen. Fun fact, this level is coded to override your audio settings just to make it even louder. What you're supposed to do is pick up a shotgun and shoot the door from afar. Also, just don't ask why they wired the bomb while they were still inside. I have no answer. After blowing up the bomb and getting a severe case of tinnitus, the final 3 mobsters are camping behind the table. These can be a bit tricky to kill, but you can just pick them off easily with a machine gun. Completing the level and heading back to Beard, you can sense that something isn't right. Even Beard acknowledges this. Another new day. The bomb from the last mission made it to the news because it was so loud. Getting our objective.
It's Dave from Miami Pest Control. We need you. A client at Southwest 104th Street is having vermin problems. Try to handle it as quick and swift as you can. Someone else will clean up for you as you leave. Make sure not to bother any of the neighbors.
Now this level has a secret in it. The level itself is not actually all that special. It's a 2-floor house with enemies that patrol the entire house. It's a bit tricky, but at this point, you should have picked up on what to do. now for the secret. In the first room of Full House, you can find a crowbar. This isn't random and is only available for this level. After completing the mission, instead of leaving, go behind the house where you can find a sewer. Open the grate with the crowbar and you'll find a dying man inside. Again, most likely another agent like Tony. You're going to start seeing a pattern here with dead agents. He's named after the mask that's next to him. Jones the Alligator. This mask makes all kills and executions bloodier. Not really useful, but it's a cool cosmetic, I guess. Back at Beard's Pizza shop, it is, for the first time, completely empty. It's a sign of things to come. Beard attributes this to people losing their taste for pizza before giving Jacket his order and leaving. Something to take note of here is the apartment. It has now been more than a month since Jacket's first mission, the metro, and you can see just how much of an improvement Jacket's life has been ever since he rescued Girlfriend. For the first time, there's no pizza boxes on the floor. Jacket has slowly been getting his life together due to taking care of Girlfriend. Jacket gets his hit as usual, but this time you can tell something's off.
Hi, it's Don from Hotel Blue. We need you tonight. Our receptionist went home due to stomach problems. And we have some VIPs who will be staying with us tonight. Make sure you give them a great stay.
Now get going.
The call mentions someone else getting stomach problems and you taking care of some VIPs. On the way down we can encounter a janitor. He doesn't say anything, but he'll become very important later on. Clean Hit is an extremely important chapter, both gameplay wise and lore wise. First of all, I highly recommend wearing the Aubrey mask here, which spawns more guns. Melee combat is almost impossible in this level, due to the long hallways allowing enemies to snipe you down. This level also has an exclusive enemy in it, the waiter. If these guys spot you, they will immediately fill you with bullets. I haven't mentioned this yet, but Clean Hit is exclusively a political mission. We are tasked with assassinating 3 politicians of the RAC, the Russian-American Coalition, an alliance between the US and Russia to help quell conflicts after tensions rose so much there was a threat of a nuclear strike, and the waiters are bodyguards of these politicians. Starting the level, take out the mobster and pick up one of the guns. Unload the entire gun on the dining hall, making sure to kill both politicians. After that, head up and into the second floor. There are 2 guards at the end of the corridor that, no matter what, will kill you. You need to mount the side of the building by exiting through this window. On the way there, we meet another janitor. These 2 are a lot deeper than you might think, but for now, just ignore them. Finding the MP5 underground, kill the remaining mobsters and the politician to finish the level. Back at Beard's VHS shop, you can see that there's a rumor going on about there being more than one masked killer, which we know is true since we've seen 2 of them by now.
Hi, it's Harry from management. We have a problem. There's a big mess over by the condos on 122nd Southeast Street. One of the residents' water pipe burst. Wet all over. The whole building is gonna be flooded soon. Hope you can get this shit ASAP. Don't go easy on the mob. Opening the newspaper on the bed, which reveals that our assassination dealt a heavy blow to the RAC, we get our mission as usual. Hi, it's Harry from management. We have a problem. There's a big mess over by the condos on 122nd Southeast Street. One of the residents' water pipe burst. Wet all over. The whole building is gonna be flooded soon. Hope you can get this shit ASAP. Don't go easy on the mop.
Neighbors is the final chapter of Act 2 and the second longest level in the whole game. This level is a 4 apartment complex with each floor filling with monsters and dogs, as well as a new enemy, the Thug. They behave exactly the same as a producer, being immune to melee weapons and only being able to be killed with guns, with the exception that the producer could only be killed with a shotgun. However, thugs can be killed using any kind of firearm. Also watch out because they literally eat bullets for breakfast. Just look at this. This is a hard level. Wear the Graham mask to move faster, or wear the Tony mask and rush down enemies before hiding. After killing everyone, instead of leaving as usual, this happens.
There's been a small change of plans. We have a prank caller at the telephone company. Why don't you go there and see if you can talk some sense with him, if you know what I mean?
342nd Northwest Street. Go there, now, for it.
Remember the agent who had stomach problems in the last mission? Well, he actually refused to do clean hit due to its political heat. And now we have to kill him so he won't be a liability. Going to the address where we provided, we are immediately met with a brutal scene. The entire phone home team has been butchered. Some are even sliced in half. Going to the second floor, we immediately find the culprit. This is Biker, somebody who we will explain later, but for now, we just need to kill him. The key word to describe Biker's fight is positioning. In order to damage him, you need to pick up the golf stick near the desk. However, every step you take, Biker gets closer. And after a specific sound cue, he will step up and try and slash you with his butcher's knife. And if you try to get too close, he will also kill you. After 2 slashes, he will instead throw his meat cleaver at you. Do this twice and he will go down. The best way to beat Biker is to circle strafe him like you're playing the spy from TF2. Shocked that this might be the end, Jacket finishes him off. Note that this isn't what it appears to be. We'll get into all of that later, but for now, just don't think about it. If you thought Act 2 was weird, then prepare yourself for Act 3. We open up for the final time on the masked trio. The room is more bloody and rotten from last time. Richard, instead of giving some form of answer, proceeds to give us 3 predictions instead. He also declares that next time they meet, it will be the last. Someone you know isn't who you think it is, something will soon be taken from you, and most importantly, on July the 21st, you will wake up in a bigger house. I'm sure that you're still confused, but don't worry, I will answer everything later. Back in Jacket's apartment, we can see that it is completely clean. There's even some new tablecloths. You can really see the difference between this and Act 1. Jacket, due to girlfriend, has been getting slowly better. Getting our mission, we begin the first chapter of Act 3.
Hi, it's Pat from the club. We want you to DJ tonight. You're free to play any kind of music you want. Beer is on the house. We're on 212 Northeast 24th Street. Dress to kill. See ya. Push It is the first chapter to let the player have control of where to go. Previous levels were only one way, but now there are two paths to choose from. Starting in the middle, we can see an agent gunned down by 3 mobsters. This is Carl, based on the locust mask he's wearing. He has his own story to tell, but we will get to that in a minute. He's another agent for the mysterious organization we work for, but unlike the previous 2 agents, he actually has a canon backstory. A fan made a small comic and the developers liked it enough, they made it canon. After clearing the room, you have 2 options, left or right. Go left and you will proceed to be hit by such a strong wave of epilepsy equivalent to exactly 1 Maxor video. This actually works against you since it is so bright, odds are you won't see the 6 gunmen hiding in plain sight. Get a gun from the guard in the previous home and upload down the hallway. If you instead go right, it's a standard room where melee is the better option, due to how close quarters combat works. Finishing the level, we go to Beard as usual, but this conversation with Beard is wildly different from the last time. This is the last time we talk to Beard in this game. I want you to pay attention to the man with the green jacket. His role will change the next chapter, so for now, just pay attention to him. Get mission, go to location, you get the drill. Hi, this is Rick from the real estate office. There's a showing for an apartment downtown today. It's at Southwest 121st Street, apartment 35. Open house. Just swing on by when you have the time.
Crackdown is a very unique level. It's a 2-story drug den. The first floor consists of tightly packed rooms. Quick reaction is necessary here. However, what makes this level very unique is the second floor. There is a guard at the end of the hallway and a few enemies. There's nothing new. However, if you kill exactly 7 enemies, this happens. The level ends early, and as the name suggests, the SWAT team has organized a sting operation to crack down on the drug den. They will mistake you as a member and they will shoot you as well. The moment they break down the door, the level is finished, so you can leave. However, this is easier said than done, due to a new obstacle, the sniper. Much like people who spam the Machina in TF2, if you don't respect the sightline, you will immediately die. Now, what you're supposed to do is sneak by, avoiding the windows. But this is very hard since every second you aren't moving, the SWAT team is getting closer. By the way, they are also flat out unkillable. They will only be knocked down and you can't kill them. Now, instead of doing all of that, here is one guaranteed trick that Deleton Games doesn't want you to know. At the second floor, pick up any gun and shoot it. This will attract the enemies towards you. Kill them near the exit, so when the SWAT team ends the level, you can immediately leave. thing I want to draw your attention to is that, starting from Crackdown, all the level out roads are vastly different. Remember in the green hoodie? As we can see, he now takes Beard's place, and instead of being as friendly as Beard, he's very antagonistic towards Jacket, and he will immediately kick him out. New day, new mission, same thing.
Hello there. This is Thomas from the Downtown Relaxation. We need you to fill in at the reception tonight. One of our employees has called in sick. Wear something fitting and discreet.
Hot and Heavy is the largest and arguably the hardest chapter in Hotline Miami 1. It's a 4-floor sauna where there is a lot to digest here. Floor 1. Kill the mobster and steal his weapon. Run down the corridor and don't stop, since there is a mobster with a shotgun on the other side of the window. After killing the 2 melee mobsters, you can lure the rest and take them out. The second floor is more complicated. Make sure you have a gun before entering. You just fire a shot to lure everyone, then unload, killing most of the enemies, and letting you pick off the rest. Floor 3 is in my mind the hardest. It's 4 rooms in a giant square with enemies patrolling both inside and out. One wrong move and you will have your throat ripped out by dogs, head blown off by a shotgun, or your neck broken with a lead pipe. Also, the actual interior of the rooms is made out of glass, so be very careful about that. The sauna itself is the final floor. Melee is recommended here since enemies are tightly packed together. Overall, this is a pretty hard level, but with enough observation and patience, you can beat it. Also, this level has another secret mask. This one belonging Jake the Snake. It makes all thrown weapons deadly, which is pretty useful. Jake actually has a pretty large role in the second game, but we'll get into that later. And back in the VHS store, Beard's corpse is still there, and the mysterious man is still as unfriendly as always. June 8th, the day everything changed. Now, you're probably guessing that all of this has to be fake. From the mysterious man's abrupt appearance to the zombie thug in your apartment, this is the day you understand everything. Even the phone call itself is weird.
This is Jim from the office. Just wanted to remind you that your report is due tomorrow morning. Have it on my desk by 8. 312 Southeast Street, Island the address. In case you forgot.
You can tell something is extremely wrong. Not only is Deadline the final mission of Act 3, but it's Jacket's final mission for the mysterious organization overall. You'll see why in a bit. This mission always starts with the silenced pistol. I would say it's the second best weapon in the game, right next to the silenced Uzi. It has enough bullets to cover the entire floor if you don't miss. Moving up is a corridor with a guard at the end of the entrance. Make sure to pick up a firearm because melee is impossible in this part. There are just way too many guns. After quickly sniping the enemies, move to floor 3, which is a mixture of both floors having close quarters combat and long range shooting. I'm sure you're thinking, wait, is that it? That's the level you said was so important? Man, that was under van jump scare. While leaving, you get ambushed by a van. This is, by the way, the absolute fastest way to die in the game, since the van will instantly spawn, and when I say instantly, I mean it. It spawns so fast, and it immediately runs you over. If you want to, you can farm the Karma achievement here. It requires you to die 1000 times. The fight itself is challenging. A mobster and a thug will get out of the van and attack you, while the driver throws a Molotov at you. If you get cornered, there's no way to leave because the Molotov will never despawn until you finish the fight. You can actually also use it to kill the enemies by luring them to it. After 2 mobsters and a thug with another Molotov come out, pick up a shotgun to kill the thugs instantly and shoot the mobsters while backing up. After that, a static will show the van driver surrendering. Jacket then proceeds to give him the most brutal death in the game. The cuts to static will play a role later, but for now let's just see the outro. At the bar, a bunch of zombie bouncers are getting served, while the man immediately kicks you out again. This is also the last time a level has an outro. The reason is the following. Now, this next part is done so well, I want you to see it in its entirety. Do you remember Richard's predictions? On July 21st, he will wake up in a bigger house. Well, he wasn't lying. The hospital sure does have a bigger bed. Trauma starts with a doctor and a police officer talking, confirming that girlfriend is dead, Jacket's been in a coma for weeks, and the man who shot them has been arrested. Now, before I go on, I have been promising answers for quite some time now, and it's time to give them. In order to do that, we need to look back, more specifically, Jacket. Jacket is the name given to our protagonist, given to him by the community due to his letterman jacket. What his backstory and real name is still unclear even today, and we only get some snippets in Hotline Miami 2. I have already explained how, judging from Jacket's apartment and Beard's comments, he lives a pretty hollow and depressing life, up until he meets Girlfriend and they fall in love. Girlfriend, for a character that only speaks once in the whole game, is extremely important for Jacket's life, because she gave him purpose. Over the course of the game, you can see the apartment getting slowly cleaner and cleaner. There's even a diary and some tablecloths at the end. This is a sign that Jacket was healing, and it's because of her. She was Jacket's everything, and now she's gone. Girlfriend is based off of a real person who came into Jonathan Soderstern's life, as evidenced by the Hotline Miami 2 art book. As to why Jacket and Girlfriend got assassinated, I have to reveal that later because it involves spoilers. Just know that the mysterious organization who are sending you letters is behind all of this. As for the hallucinations, everything from chapter 1 until Trauma has been Jacket's coma. Now, don't worry, this isn't a pyrocynical moment where it's all in the head. Jacket did genuinely kill all of those people, and all of these events did actually happen. But, due to his coma, his brain is misremembering things. For example, in the biker fight, he doesn't actually kill him. Canonically, he only wounds him and biker escapes. This is because biker makes it Hotline Miami 2 in an Easter egg. And finally, for Richard's questions. Do you like hurting other people? It's kinda obvious, but yes. Who are leaving messages on your answering machine? Can't answer that one just yet, spoilers. Where are we right now, in Jacket's mind? And why are we here? In order to get Jacket to wake up from his coma. That's about all I can answer right now. You're just gonna have to watch until the end to find out. Now back to the actual level. This level is unique because Jacket for once isn't in control of the situation. The level tips even change. She's already dead. Confess to the police. Wake up. Your goal isn't for once to kill everyone. Instead, it's just to leave the hospital. However, this is easier said than done. Now, don't get me wrong. Trauma, lore-wise, is an instant S tier level. But gameplay-wise, I think this reaction from Skadawaz is accurate. This level is infuriating to play. Although to be fair, this level is designed to be infuriating. Why? For starters, Jacket moves significantly slower than normal. Additionally, the screen will constantly shake while moving. And this isn't just a graphical effect, by the way. This will actually affect your movement like an ice level. And finally, if you move too fast without catching a break, Jacket will get a headache, stopping him dead in his tracks and letting you get exposed. Plan your pass so you don't get caught. What you're supposed to do is pick up a keycard, move to the laundry room, and sneak off to the elevator. Hide inside these two rooms while doctors patrol and just gun it straight to the entrance. But fun fact, there is actually a secret exit. On the second floor, once you're near the elevator, just go north. And you can immediately leave. Jacket barely makes it to his home without blacking out. The doctor mentioned that he hasn't healed fully from surgery, and this is obvious. Returning to his house after a month of being abandoned, it has been vandalized. The car windows are broken and someone graffitied "whore" on the car. Upstairs, the house itself is a complete disarray. After ripping off the tape, Jacket finds his clothes, wears them, and immediately leaves. After overhearing the officer saying that they've locked up the killer, Jacket goes to the local police station to find him. There are no mobsters in this chapter. Instead, all of the enemies are police officers. This also shows just how much Jacket wants his revenge, to the point where he's willing to butcher an entire station just to get it. The first floor has the biggest number of enemies in the game. All it takes is a single shot and all 12 cops will instantly rush you. You can use the Juan mask to take advantage of this and kill them by the door. After killing them in whatever form, make sure to pick up a shotgun before going upstairs, because this part is tricky. Since the floor is small enough that there is no way you can use melee, instead, shoot the first officer, which will attract the others. Now you can take pot shots from behind the elevator door to send them out. Among the enemies is also the detective. He's just a reskin of the thug that instead of punching you, he will tase Jacket if he gets too close. Finally, upon reaching the third floor, the chief himself has heard the shots below and warned the officers, arming themselves with guns in the middle of the room. There are two guards guarding the killer. After killing them, clear any enemy left and take pot shots at the chief, taking him out. Clear the rest of the enemies and pick up the keys to the cell.
Hey, I'm a rat! I ain't no snitch!
If you do as he says and just pick up the documents, the level ends. This is the only level in the game where Jacket doesn't have to kill anyone at the end of it. You can also find the rat mask he was wearing, which finally lets us know what his name is. Richter, another man who, like Jacket, was threatened into joining the organization. But instead of being an agent, he's an assassin. He takes out other agents once they are no longer useful. You can actually kill him if you want. This isn't canon, by the way, because Richter does survive, as he makes it to the second game. He is the only person you can spare as Jacket. I assume because they are pretty much in the same boat. Looking at the police documents reveals that they were aware of the Mafia, but they couldn't do anything since they didn't have enough evidence. However, they did manage to track the phone calls to a club, and Jacket goes there. Vengeance is the last normal level in Hotline Miami. Knowing that the phone calls are coming from here, Jacket intends to kill the culprit once and for all. The entrance only has 2 enemies, nothing real to say there. The second floor, however, is very hard, since every enemy in the game, melee, ranged, dogs, and subs, will attack you at once. At this point, you probably know what to do, so let's just move on. The final floor is full of melee weapons and dogs. Kill them and snipe the firearm monsters to finally meet the manager. After failing to grab a gun, he tells Jacket the location of the Russian Mafia boss before dying. Apparently, Jacket has Doomslayer level of strength, where he can just crush a skull with his bare hands. Showdown is the finale of the game. You are legally obliged to wear Richard for the final level. There is 1 double barrel shotgun enemy and 2 subs. You know what to do. Going up the elevator, we finally come face to face with the head of the Mafia. The father is the final boss in the game. He's one of the 2 heads of the Mafia, and he recognizes Jacket as the person who is wiping them out. And as such, he sends both of his deformed Barney the Dinosaur panzers at you. In order to hit them, you have to pick up the trophy in the corner of the room. Both panzers require 2 hits to die, but they will stop right before pouncing. This is your moment to strike. After killing both of the panzers, the bodyguard says she will take care of this, and she starts throwing knives at you. Much like Biker, she is extremely accurate, and if you try to run away too far, she will just instantly kill you. What you have to do is throw the trophy at her as soon as she finishes talking and execute her by smashing her head against the ground. Finally, the father will comment on your ruthless behavior, exclaiming that he's never seen anyone with such bloodlust, before loading akimbo Uzis and firing. This is extremely deadly since he has enough bullets to cover the entire room. You must either hide behind the 2 water fountains or abuse the way guns are designed and stand directly in front of the barrel, where it can't hit you. 10 out of 10 programming here, Jonathan. When the bodyguard dies, she will drop 3 throwing knives. You just need to hit him with 2 while he's reloading, and you defeat him. Saying that he won't give Jacket the pleasure of killing him, he shoots himself in the head, ending the final boss battle. Here's a fun fact: if you stand directly to the right when he kills himself, you can also die, with the implication that the bullet pierced straight through his skull and pierced yours. After the fight is over, the phone rings, and a disgruntled man answers. Jacket picks up the father's gun and heads upstairs. where he meets face to face with the grandfather, the previous head of the mafia and the father of, well, the father. Yeah, I know it's confusing. The grandfather is accepting of his death, saying that he's done so many terrible things that it just doesn't matter anymore. And he tells Jacket to get on with it. It's over. Jacket has single-handedly wiped out the Russian mafia in Miami. Taking off his mask and has a smoke while looking at a picture before letting the wind blow it off as the credits roll. One thing to note here is that whatever this picture is, it is apparently so important, it's Jacket's main reason for killing the mafia, other than being threatened. What it is won't be revealed until Hotline Miami 2, but trust me, it's important. You can actually see one of the playtesters here being Rami Ismail, co-creator of Nuclear Throne and one of Denatin's best friends. And that's it, the game's over. You good, didn't I? Yeah, turns out the game's not over yet. Jacket's part is over, but there's still another playable character. You guys remember Biker? Yeah, it turns out he was just another agent for the mysterious organization, but he got bored and wanted out. After strengthening one of the agents, he goes to the location where the technician, the one who wired their phones to the mysterious callers, is. Instead of Jacket's car, we go via a motorcycle. Safe House is the first level we play as Biker, and you can immediately notice the difference between Jacket and Biker's playstyles. Jacket encourages you to test and use masks and calculate the situation. Biker on the other hand goes fuck it, we ball. He has only one weapon, his meat cleaver, but he can also throw 3 throwing knives. They fly in a completely straight line, and unlike other throwing weapons, they don't have any fall off. But do note that once you use all 3, they don't respawn until you complete the level. If you miss, you can pick them back up again, but if you do kill someone, they won't respawn. Biker then encounters the technician, and this is the main difference between Biker and Jacket. Biker spares him. Unlike Jacket, where you have to kill everyone out of revenge, Biker just wants answers, and as such, he's fine with sparing people as long as they don't get in his way. He's still definitely a bit of a psycho though. Going back to Biker's place, which by the way is the most stereotypical 90s room I have ever seen in my life, we get another mission, and my personal favorite mission in the game.
Hello, it's Mark from Miami Drop-Off. It looks like you missed your delivery last night. We've got another parcel for you today. Please drop it off at Southwest 107th Place. Our clients will not tolerate further delays.
Biker is trying to find out who the mysterious callers are, but as such, he also is forced to do some of their missions so he doesn't blow his cover. Fun and Games is composed of 2 levels of an arcade house where you just kill everyone and leave. It's a pretty normal mission, but the music playing, Music per Automatique by Elliot Berlin, is just amazing. The next mission, Prank Call, is the tie-in between Jacket and Biker's stories. As you might have guessed, this is the mission where they fight. This time, we see it from Biker's perspective. The level starts off with a party at Biker's house. He then gets a phone call as usual.
Hi, it's Jane. It was nice to see you again. How about another date tonight? Pick me up at Northeast 158th Street around 9. Okay. And put on one of those nice suits you got. You're taking me somewhere fancy tonight.
However, Biker ignores the call and instead heads over to the phone company. If you want to, you can choose to kill the employees or not. It doesn't really matter. Now, I'm not gonna commentate over this. I want you to see. This is the full fight from Biker's point of view. Yep, it is exactly just that easy. Go up in a straight line and kill him. Now obviously this isn't what actually happened. With Biker and Jacket having different outcomes, here's what really happened that night. Biker is assigned to do the clean hit mission. However, he refuses, most likely because of its political heat. Jacket instead does it. When Biker is at the phone call company, the mysterious callers catch wind of this and contact Jacket midway through neighbors in order to kill him. They fight and they are almost identical in strengths, but Jacket is slightly stronger and he overcomes Biker, presumably giving him this car in Hotline Miami 2, but Biker manages to flee with the information and Jacket goes home. Due to Jacket failing to kill Biker, he also gets killed, or at least is injured as a result, and girlfriend dies because of this. Now, as to why both versions are different, that's easy to answer. For Jacket, we already said that any chapter before trauma is his coma, so naturally he was just hallucinating. As for Biker, at the start of the level where we see the party, he can find a bottle of alcohol in the fish tank. Presumably, he was just drunk and misremembered things. They both canonically make it to the sequel. In the end, they both survived.
Hi, it's Ben from Miami Funeral Parlor. I'm just calling to tell you have the tombstone you ordered done and ready to be delivered. With a little luck, you should be getting it before the weekend.
Resolution is the real final chapter in Hotline Miami. There is no combat in it. Biker finally manages to track down the mysterious callers. And wouldn't you know, it's none other than the janitors, Dennis and Jonathan. And yes, they are both named after the developers. Quite a power move to self-insert yourself as the antagonist. Jumping in a sewer grate, we find out the base of operations is underground. Biker tries to access a locked PC, but fails, and goes after them. There, he confronts the two janitors. The player is free to choose any questions to ask. Note that this is the only time in the entire series that you have freedom of dialogue. You can kill them if you want, but again, they both canonically survive and make it to the sequel. The credits then roll with Biker leaving Miami. Now I'm sure you're confused. The janitors were obviously lying, and we still don't know why all of this is happening. The answer to all of our questions lie in the secret and true ending. At any time while playing, if you pause the game, there is a puzzle option. This is initially locked. Hidden in every level of Jacket's story is a purple pixel. It is so small, I have no idea how you can notice it without Rasmus. Once picked up, they spell a letter. Finally collecting all of them, you must try and figure out the puzzle by trial and error. Once a letter is placed correctly, it will be locked in place. Complete the puzzle and you get the full sentence. I was born in the USA. It's a real-life rock song by Bruce Springsteen and addresses the suffering of Vietnam veterans upon returning from the war. Something you're gonna find very similar in Hotline Miami 2. This is also the password to the janitor's computer. Replaying resolution, but now with the password, this happens. Armed with the truth, Biker confronts the janitors for real this time. "50 Blessings", a political terrorist organization focused on removing the Russian mafia from Hotline Miami. In short, it's Make America Great Again but 10 times more violent. And they also seek to remove the RAC, the Russian American Coalition. While removing the mafia sounds positive on Twitter, they are in fact worse than them, because 50 Blessings agents are absolute sociopaths. They do not care about their agents, and they force innocent people like Richter and Jacket to be killers. This also explains why the first letter Jacket got was so intimidating and threatening, in comparison to all of the other letters, because they make people think that they will be killed if they don't submit to their orders, and then they kill them once they are no longer useful. Both of the janitors warn Biker that in 5 years, the country will be unrecognized. Biker then leaves Miami and the credits roll as usual. And that's it. That's Hotline Miami covered from start to finish. And now, we move on to Hotline Miami 2. Hotline Miami was a big hit. The game was fun, the music incredible, and the story sure enough to be sweet. Lots of people played it.
This game is amazingly fun. By now you probably all played it.
And shortly after, Denton started making a DLC, both to expand the game and to try and add co-op. However, what they ended up making was a sequel.
Well, it started out as a plan to make a DLC for the first game, but pretty soon we decided to do everything from scratch because it felt weird adding stuff to the Game Maker project. I could do a much better job at the programming and have it less messy if we started from the beginning and then it became a sequel instead of a DLC. I think if we wouldn't have added a more complex story, then it would have felt a lot like making the first game again.
Now, while Hotline Miami was successful when the game first came out, fans were divided to its reception. On one hand, it had more levels, a way deeper story, improved gunplay, a level editor that is still being used today, and overall just more fun.
I remember for the second game, we wanted to do that right in a sense, because some of them was kind of like not good, and like Tony the Tiger was way too overpowered. We also wanted to bring in the guns a bit more. In the first game we liked, melee was the fun part mostly, but for this one we wanted to make more gun-oriented levels, like bigger levels, and that was one of the more interesting things working on. At some point in when we were making the first game, we were thinking about doing multiplayer, I think for the briefest period of time, but I think that just carried over to the second game. Like, it would be cool to have two characters at the same time.
On another hand, it had more questionable design. For example, in Hotline Miami 2, you do not play as Biker or Jacket. They are both there, but they just make a cameo appearance. You end up playing as several protagonists, which for some felt like limiting your playstyle instead of the many masks you got in Hotline Miami 1. It also had some questionable level design, which will become very apparent later on. The story was the main focus in Hotline Miami 2. Now, timeline-wise, it is all over the place, with events being non-linear and happening in the present and the past, and as such, you have to piece it together yourself. But the reward for doing so is one of the best stories I have seen in an indie game. Sadly, however, the game had a rough launch.
Post-launch honeymoon phase, or was it trickier?
It was horrible.
Yeah.
The devs stated that the post-launch was horrible, getting very harsh feedback over the game and sometimes even death threats.
Like at Steam, for example, but it was more like if there were bugs, people were like posting them, explaining what the problem was, trying to help them make the game work, and now it's just like, this is a horrible game, I hope you all die, you suck, and a bunch of like swear words.
One thing they realized was that instead of adding a hard mode, they should have added an easy mode to compensate for the game's difficulty.
When we had finished the game, we had promised to make a hard mode, and that should have been what is the normal mode now.
Also was the fact that they made the entire game essentially backwards, because they encountered multiple bugs with Game Maker which caused them to test it at half speed, potentially leading to enemies being faster than intended.
Should we tell him about the technical difficulties we had?
Sure.
After we had made about half of the game, Game Maker ran out of memory, so when we played the game it ran in half speed.
They are actually glad that more people have now come to appreciate the game after a long time.
To be honest, and we have seen some videos recently who has like almost made a 180 on Hotline Miami 2. That's just kind of fun to see, like some people calling it a masterpiece.
With development now out of the way, let's cover this game start to finish. Now, the best way I describe how different Hotline Miami 2 from 1 is that Hotline Miami 1 is more focused on melee weapons and free gunplay, but doesn't have as much of a gripping story, while Hotline Miami 2 has an amazing story, but it focuses you more to play by its own rules, something that becomes very apparent later on. The game launched with a collector's edition. It came with the soundtrack in a cassette tape, Now, the Hotline Miami 2 soundtrack is one of the best game soundtracks I have ever heard. Much like one, it consists of multiple artists, some of which are returning ones, like Moon for example, but others are new, like I Am the Kid, you know what I mean? And I think the most popular example being Carpenter Brut, who made 2 of the best songs in the game. It also came with a special box with bonus discs, a small art book, which is what I have been referencing this whole time, small cards with cameos of the musicians, and all 5 of the digital comics printed in one book. I actually do have a printed version of these comics and they're pretty cool. They offer some world building and backstory, but it's just a little 15-page comic or something. However, the game also released completely banned in Australia for a pretty dumb reason, which we'll get into. Now, Denatan, in an absolute Giga Chad move, responded to a worried fan saying, "Just pirate it, and no need to send us money. Just enjoy the game." As a developer, the fact that they forsook the money in exchange for their players' enjoyment and wanting that to be their main attention is extremely commendable. Props to you, Denatan. This was also supported by Devolver Digital, who were publishing the games. Honestly, I love Devolver. They published a lot of my favorite games, and they're just pretty cool guys in general. The game starts with a movie-esque intro, with the title being Midnight Animal. It slowly displays the names of the actors who, by the way, some of these are actual real-life Australian actors, like Rachel Ward and Vernon Wells. This is the game's tutorial, reminding you what the mechanics are in case you've forgotten. Most importantly, gunfire has been tweaked. It now has a tighter spread, and mowing down people is a more effective strategy than before. If you compare this to Hotline Miami 1, the difference is like night and day. After clearing the first floor, a phone rings. And after clearing the second floor, this happens. It was just a movie. Now, I have to interject here and point out that this is the reason the game got banned in Australia. This is pretty stupid because even in the in-game universe, it's just a movie, it's not real. This was added to emphasize how the media twists events. If it isn't obvious yet, this is supposed to be a movie based on Jacket's murders, and we can already see how it's altered. Just looking at both of them, you can tell that people are twisting things. As we saw ourselves, Jacket rescued girlfriend from the producer's mansion, took care of her, and when she was killed, he went ahead and got revenge for her, or at least that's what he thinks he did. However, much like real life, the media doesn't care about truth, it cares only about views. In a prequel comic released before the game launched, we see Jacket after killing the grandfather and his arrest. A news report later plays out, and from it we understand that the public believes Jacket, wearing Aubrey, the pig mask, kidnapped, assaulted, and later killed girlfriend, which obviously isn't the truth. The director later gives advice to the actors before the scene ends. We then change perspectives. This is pretty common, by the way, because the story is non-linear. These are the fans. Like their names suggest, they are fans of Jacket and have copied his style and gotten animal masks of their own. Like I said earlier, Hotline Miami 2 is non-linear, meaning story events are scattered. Near the end I'll give a summary, but for now, if you suddenly go from one scene to another, that's fine. This is the fans' hideout. consisting of Mark the bear, Tony the tiger, Corey the zebra, and Alex and Ash the twin swans. All of the guests at the party are actually the musicians who made the game's soundtrack. Seriously, check them out. Entering the fans' van, which by the way is actually a stolen van from where you fought Biker in Hotline Miami 1, the first level starts. Down Under is pretty much the game going. I know you've missed this. At first, you only have Corey available, but later on, you can unlock more of the fans. Each playable character in this game has a special ability, and Corey's special ability is Dodge Roll, much like the average Souls-like fan, which briefly makes you invincible. Now, a word of advice, do not spam this, it will get you killed. This ability is tricky at first, but trust me, you can do some insane plays if you figure it out. Other than that, Corey plays exactly the same as Jacket, and in fact, she's the most similar to Jacket, even wearing a Miami Dolphins jacket just like Jacket's iconic Letterman jacket. The first level also helps to introduce how guns have been reworked, with tighter fire, more active frames, which means that unlike Hotline Miami 1, mowing down people and spraying and praying is actually an effective strategy, and sometimes necessary. There honestly isn't much more to say. Also, this game takes place 2 years after Hotline Miami 1. Just a little tidbit. Just like the previous game, if you get a high enough score, you can unlock a mask, or in this case, a new playable character. For this one, you unlock Tony, and we move on to the next scene. Mark gets a pizza from Pizza Shop, which is about 90% of the fans' diet, and on the table to the left, you can actually find people who are Devolvo Digital employees. We move over to a different character. This is Manny Pardo, a detective working for Miami police. On the bathroom floor, you can find a newspaper clipping, which, as we will see later on, mentions Jacket's trial. After chatting with the waitress, Manny goes to his car. While stopping for a snack at a convenience store, he finds that it's full of gang members. If you go to the trunk of the car and press right click, you can actually get a hidden shotgun. Manny's unique perk is that he fires guns 20% faster than other characters. And he can also do gun executions. All other characters drop their guns if doing an execution, but with Manny you can just execute them outright with the gun itself. In the store there are 5 statues: eyes, melting, fish, crystal, and UV. Destroying all of them gives the nuclear waste achievement, which once again is a reference to Nuclear Throne. Rest in peace, Flambeer, you will be missed. After finishing the level, Pardo gets cornered by the police. and we later switch to a crime scene.
Say the line!
Pardo.
This ends the level with Pardo. It then rewinds. Two years ago, on the same day as Decadence, where Jacket rescues girlfriend, we see it from a different perspective. This is Jake, a hot-blooded patriot. If you go to the counter, you can read the exact same newspaper that Jacket read. Now obviously, we know that these are 50 Blessings, the antagonists, having been the ones responsible for wiring the phones and threatening Jacket. And sure enough, when you pick up the phone, this happens.
Good day. This is Eric from Miami
Not knowing
Auto
what to
Repairs.
do,
I'm calling
Jake
to
goes
tell
to
you
the
that we have
address he was
finished
given.
service. Swing on by Northwest 12th Avenue Place and pick. We guarantee you the best service in town.
Hard News is probably the best level in Act 1. At first, you only have the Jake mask, the exact same one as the previous game. If you throw a weapon, any weapon, it can kill enemies. The first floor is empty, with a single bottle. The second floor is the one with the enemies. This level, while pretty simple, teaches you one of Hotline Miami 2's biggest criticisms, and that is glass doors. I'm sorry, are we fighting in a greenhouse or something? They are everywhere, and if you don't pay attention, you will get sniped. Upon completing the second floor, the third one opens with a bunch of enemies tightly locked together, and a man with a briefcase of cash. Overall, a good level to test your skills and get you adapted to how Hotline Miami 2 works. And can you just appreciate the music?
Yo, yo, yo!
When the level ends, you can just leave or you can grab the briefcase from the accountant. This does nothing that affects the story, it does change Jake's car. Next time you're gonna see him, he now has a monster truck instead of his green car. After the level is over, Jake goes to a tattoo shop to celebrate. This shows us an important glimpse into Jake's mind. In the second prequel comic, we see Jake participating in a protest against the Russians, showing how over-patriotic he is. It's also very ironic how Russians are hated in this game, but they actually love the game in real life. Seriously, any video I watch always has some Russian comment in it. It's pretty funny. The screen then cuts to an interview with the actor we played as earlier, Martin Brown. scene then cuts to Jacket's apartment. I'm sure you're confused, which just give me a minute and I'll explain everything. But for now, just roll with it. To the right, you can find an old version of the script which Martin had. Final cut is the final chapter in Act 1. The level starts for real after breaking out. On the first floor we can see that it's raining outside, with thunder ripping through the sky. Going into the second room, a SWAT officer locks the door containing Rachel. You have to be careful here since there are a ton of police around. The SWAT officer himself is immune to guns, dashing down to avoid them. You have to hit him and finish him off by... getting the keys from his body. There are two more officers and a detective that will tase you if you get close. After finishing off all the enemies, you open the door. He's actually dead, having been shot with live ammo. When the score screen finishes, we instantly move to Act 2. Now I'm sure you have a ton of questions, so let's explore what just happened. There are two theories here. Theory number 1, Martin was another Jacket copycat killer who hallucinated his actions as acting. I personally don't believe this one because there are way too many plot holes. Theory number 2 on the other hand is the one I think is true. Martin was a famous actor with psychotic tendencies, who used his role as a means to satisfy his urges without actually killing anyone. That rant where he goes in depth about what he wants to do is his real side. He was filming Midnight Animal and in the final scene he gets shot and dies, but unknown to the actress, he is genuinely dead, having been shot with a faulty prop gun that actually killed him. This isn't rare in real life. Famous martial artist actor Bruce Lee died from a heart attack in his youth, and his son Brandon Lee also became an actor. But did you know that, much like his father, he also died very young due to a faulty prop gun? He was filming a scene for the movie The Crow, and during it, the gun went off and he actually got shot. Exactly what happened to Martin. Overall, Martin plays literally no role in the main story, and he's pretty much there as a tutorial character, teaching you how the game works. However, this also serves as some good world building, expanding on what happened after the main game and how the public see Jacket now. Act 2 starts off with a trial, Jacket's trial. 2 years after he defeated the father. After they're done talking, we control a new character, Evan Wright, named after real-life journalist Evan Wright. Evan is writing a book on Jacket's killings, and he needs more information. Exiting the court, you can find a bunch of reporters, again, showing that Jacket's killings have become such a sensation that there are even people protesting outside. The game doesn't actually tell you this, but these are the fans without their masks. They were originally designed at one point to be shown without their masks, but this never happened, and it became just cut content. You can also find bikers standing up to the side, the only one of them that actually met Jacket in person. After taking a cab, the real level starts. Arriving at the address Pardo gave him, Evan tries to enter. He killed that man in 2 punches, by the way. Evan is a beast. After failing to give him CPR, Evan enters to ask for help. And immediately you discover something unique, despite what the intro may seem like. Evan is a pacifist, the only pacifist in the game. He cannot use knives or any bladed weapons, and will only knock enemies out instead of killing them. If you pick up a gun instead of firing, he will actually disassemble the gun. This is meant to be a combo extender and gives you a lot of points. After clearing the first floor, Evan enters the second one. Again, be careful since there are so many windows that you might get sniped if you aren't paying attention. Fun fact, you don't even have to knock out all the enemies. Just make it to Petrov, and when you're done, they won't attack, just standing there, silently. Petrov's dialogue makes it clear that the Russian mafia were completely destroyed at the end of Hotline Miami 1. Something that I want to mention is that Manny's dialogue, while isn't important right now, will be a huge detail later on. We again switch perspectives to the fans. I hope you've gotten used to this, because changing perspective is quite common in this game. You can read about an event called the San Francisco Bombing in a newspaper next to Mark, which is something we'll get into later. Moving up provides quite a larger challenge than Down Under. We can also play as Tony in this level, who, unlike his Hotline Miami 1 version, can't actually use guns and relies entirely on melee. A balancing move by the developers, since they admitted that Tony was just straight up way too OP in Hotline Miami 1. He excels at close range combat, but is completely powerless when it comes to long range. After clearing the second floor, we move to the final one. It's a long attic with a ton of enemies and long hallways. This is Tony's biggest weakness, since without guns, you have to rely on baiting your enemies and luring them away to attack. This includes dogs too, which include an agonizing 2-second animation where you are completely vulnerable to enemies. This level shows us that the fans, unlike Jacket, are uncoordinated, striking down random gangs instead of directly attacking the Mafia and doing something actually practical. Getting enough points on this level unlocks the one and the only Alex and Ash, the best characters in the game, and you'll soon find out why. We move to a new perspective. This is the new Russian Mafia, rebuilt after Jacket took them down 2 years ago. Now run by the son, the last remaining member of the original Russian family. But in this level, we aren't playing as the son, at least not yet. Instead, we're playing as the henchman, who is playable for only this level. The henchman is clearly an old member of the Mafia and he wants to retire. With one last mission under his belt, he goes to the address he was given. Arriving at the location with silenced pistol in hand, the henchman gets to work. This is a pretty neat level, not too hard, but still challenging enough to get you to practice. On the first floor there are exactly 12 enemies, and your silenced pistol has exactly 12 bullets. If you kill them all without missing a single shot, you can get the Assassin's Cred achievement. We move to the second room. He may be getting soft, but at the end of the day, he is still a stone cold killer. Clearing the second room, we go to the third. Clearing most of the room out with guns, the level ends. Getting the money bag, something unique happens. He spares him, and this later on will be his undoing. When the henchman returns home, this happens. I'm sure this won't have any effects in the future. Going up, there's a fat orange cat and a newspaper clipping. After stuffing the money under the bed, the henchman goes to sleep, where he has a unique dream. The music cuts out and becomes sinister. And he appears. The road is now full of skeletons too. Took the money. Execution is the last level of Act 2. The henchman is high off of his mind to cope, and he's calling a number.
We are 50 days together. March. into the future. You have reached a wrong number.
This is bad, but surely it can't get any worse. Oh, this motherfucker's dead. Now, do you remember when I said that Alex and Ash are the best characters in the game? Well, here's why. They can use both guns and melee at the exact same time, a byproduct of the co-op mode that I explained a while ago. All this time you always either had guns or melee, but never both. And let's just say, it is pretty good. With the room clear, the gang confronts the henchmen. Fun fact, if you're playing as Tony, this scene gets slightly changed, because he's the only one that doesn't join in the killing. The henchmen's deaths apparently made a lot of people angry when the game released, because they felt like the fans were just pure assholes. While it's definitely sad, I can't really relate. We literally kill hundreds of mobsters left and right across the game. Why do we feel bad for this one? While we do get to see his perspective, at the end of the day, he is just as guilty as the rest of them. The henchman lived a life of violence. He did spare the men at the workshop, but that man most likely is the one who told the fans who he is. And then they came and killed him. It would have always ended this way, since, like William Shakespeare said, these violent delights have violent ends. Surprisingly, Act 3 is set in the past, around 7 years ago. Before the events of Hotline Miami 2, it introduces us to two new characters, Barnes, Dunless, and between them is a younger Beard, everyone's favorite shopkeeper. Jacket is also here, smoking a cigarette. This is the Russian-American War, which is set in Hawaii. These four characters are part of the Ghost Wolves, an elite team whose lieutenant is Beard. Beard leaves the bar. The game never tells you this, but the soldiers at the bar are actually the fans, who also served in that war, hence explaining why they share 50 Blessings goal of murdering Russians as repayment for that war they were in. However, an important note here is that the fans never knew who 50 Blessings were, even until the very end. While leaving, Beard gets confronted by a reporter, and it's none other than our good friend Evan, who was a war journalist in this time, explaining why he knows how to effortlessly disarm guns. He wants a picture for the newspaper he works for. After taking the picture, Beard and Jacket leave. a new character, the Colonel, who later gets promoted to the General. This isn't just flavor text, by the way. You actually have to choose wisely, since this will be your main weapon for the level. At first, you only have the M16 and the shotgun, but you unlock more weapons later on. Ambush is the first of Beard's levels. The setting is a stormy night, and Beard is tasked with clearing a Russian camp under the cover of darkness. Quick reflexes and planning are required for any of Beard's levels, since, unlike normal game, you cannot pick up enemy weapons. Instead, if you press right click, Beard pulls out a knife, letting you switch between melee and ranged. While he's not as strong as Alex and Ash, he's still very powerful compared to the other characters. When you run out of ammo, instead of picking up a gun, you have to look for ammo crates and actually reload at them. Back at the now captured base, Daniels is at the command center. We then fast forward in time to the fans' hideout again. After that interesting dialogue, the next level into the pit starts. This level also unlocks the last of the fans, Mark, whose unique ability is dual wielding. If you hold right click, you can split your aim and shoot in two different directions at once. He starts with two MP5s with spare ammo, and these have insane fire rate and are perfect for speedrunning. But something is off here. There's barely any enemies. That can be it, right? Going down the sewers, the true level starts. The music that plays here is We're Sorry by Life Companions. A very creepy song that perfectly fits this place. Which, word of advice, do not pick Tony for this level, you will suffer. You can find the gang members pouring what appears to be acid on dead bodies. The level isn't hard, but it's definitely off-putting. However, in my first playthrough, I picked Mark, blasted to the level in 1 minute, and didn't really experience the vibes. Take your time while crossing this level because it leaves an impact. Taking control back, we play as Pardo, who has found out where the twins live. After hiding away the mask and chainsaw and wearing a shirt, Alex opens the door. After getting terribly rejected, Pardo leaves. Whatever you do, just don't look at the trunk.
Wait.
This is Dead Ahead, the longest level in the entire series, with a whopping 90 enemies spread across 5 levels. This is the game's make or break segment. It tells you that you have to respect its rules. This isn't Hotline Miami 1. You can't just stealth your way across this. This level is very open, and sometimes there is very little to no cover available. You have to be bold, you have to be daring, you have to risk shots, and most importantly, you need to have thick skin. After finishing his murder spree, Pardo goes back to his car. Friendly reminder that this man with substandard training wiped out an entire ship by himself. But at this rate, I think it's obvious what's really happening. But I'll let you figure it out. then changes to Mark, who has some new masks. After Richard is gone, the gang decides to raid the Russian building. Death Wish, the final level in the fans' storyline. After finishing their parts, the twins reach the top, but no one's there. With that over, the game moves to Act 4. The fans' death marks an important turn in the game. Starting from here on out, everything is way more serious. While they didn't really play that big of a role in the story, they served as a carefree gameplay, murdering people without really thinking. And starting from here on out, things get serious. Act 4 starts off in Evan's house. At the end of it is a sticky note. After that, the scene changes to a subway. Oh, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Subway. This level has zero relations to the main story. Evan was taking a subway to investigate something, and on the way it got taken over by subs. That's it. That's the story. But that doesn't necessarily have to mean it's a bad thing. This level actually helps to flesh out more of Evan's character. You can use the cubicles to loop around the enemies. The next room is more challenging. It is so open. You have to be cautious since again Evan has no ranged attacks. final room has the gang leader right in the middle. If he sees you, he will send the entire gang after you, taking out the... Now something to take note of here is Evan. His book isn't succeeding, his wife might leave him, and he's in a dark place. Almost anyone would snap here. But what if Evan snaps? This man is so full of anger that all he needs is a trigger to release it. This is Evan's secret rage mode. Once you down an enemy, if you keep pressing mouse 1, Evan will struggle and then he will outright kill the enemy. Do this twice and he enters his hidden rage mode, showing off his massive biceps, which for a rider, this guy is shredded. He can use guns and bladed weapons normally, but this actually gives you a lower score than if you play as a pacifist. After his rampage, Evan arrives at a woman's house. You don't know it yet, but this is Richter's mom, the rat man who killed girlfriend. Evan wants to talk to him for his book, and after taking some tapes, he leaves. And it rewinds again. Stronghold is one of my favorite levels in the game. It really makes you feel the tropical vibes of Hawaii. First room can be completed easily enough. The second room, on the other hand, is harder. There's 2 soldiers that will instantly charge at you. At the end of the room are 2 snipers, one of which is hidden. There are a few ducking soldiers who you have to lure out. And finally, the third room, a tight living quarters that will test your reaction skills. And real quick, can I just mention the music? It is a perfect match for build. Who is revealed in the 5th comic to pretty much become a zombie. He's completely empty from the inside in order to cope with all of the killings. He just wants to go home. Being this level unlocks the sniper rifle, my favorite gun in the game. The scene then changes to Jake. By the way, in case you were wondering, no, Jake isn't Barnes. They just use a similar model. Going to his car, however, he doesn't go to the address, but rather to the base of 50 Blessings. This is a big moment in the story. Jake is the only character other than Biker who discovered the truth about 50 blessings. Not even Jacket himself managed to figure it out. Withdrawal is the last chapter in Jake's storyline. The song that plays here is Quixotic by Moon, meaning someone who is impractical, foolish, and unrealistic. All perfect words that describe Jake the Snake. You can use the Irvin mask here, which starts you off with a nail gun that has 20 shots. Perfect for clearing the first floor. This level is also the return of everyone's favorite mess lab. They're as horrible as ever. Also, how did they manage to nerf the mess lab? Enemies can go right through the explosion and kill you. Going to the second floor, the enemies are tightly grouped together. Grab a melee weapon and combo them to death. Then get a firearm to finish off the enemies in the mess lab. Finally, the third floor. You can canonically die here if you get shot first. Jake gets interrogated by two Russians and, refusing to give any info, they shoot him. This, in my mind, is the canon ending, since this level happens on the exact same day as Hot and Heavy, where you can find Jake's snake mask. But if you kill everyone in the third floor without getting hit, then you get a different ending. He dies anyways, this time for being a liability to 50 blessings. If you press right click while the executive is away, then Jake picks up a floppy disk, which later unlocks a secret level, the Abyss. Completing this level also gives you the Dallas disk. Mayday only, but if you press right click, Jake will pull out a pair of nunchucks and go to a frenzy. Very risky, but it's extremely rewarding once you figure out how to use it. Unfortunately, you can only use this on replays because Jake has just 2 levels. After Jake dies, we play as Evan. While examining Jake's items, you can get the achievement Stare into the Abyss if you picked up the floppy disk before. We move back to the Hawaii conflict, and this is probably the most important dialogue in the game. I believe we've just seen the birth of 50 blessings, founded by the Colonel. The Panzer mask that he wears looks like Brandon. The animal theme, the code names used by the Ghost Wolves, the hatred against the Russians. It's just too good. They all come together to explain that the Colonel started 50 blessings. When morning comes, the colonel seems to have come to his senses. It's very clear what's happening here. Picking up the sniper rifle, we go to the final level in Act 4. The premise is very simple. The Ghost Wolf squad are sent to capture a nuclear power plant completely by themselves. A suicide mission. The sniper rifle is perfect for this level. Not only does it have perfect accuracy, not swaying, it also lets you zoom further. It's a bit on the slow side, but if you press left click right as you shoot, Beard pulls the bolt faster. Seriously, look at these combos. After finishing the room, the second area lets you freely snipe everyone, picking off the rest with your knife. Finally entering the power plant itself, it is wrapped with enemies and the first level is very hard because you need quick reflexes to manage to clear it. Taking an elevator after clearing it, the final area is to clear the left and right rooms and gradually make your way down to finish the level. Checking in with the others, something is amiss. Bones is instantly dead, and Jacket is injured. You have to pick him up and escape. He gives him the Polaroid, the same one they got a picture of earlier. This is the Polaroid jacket disposed of at the end of Hotline Miami 1, and the reason why it's so important to him is this. Beard is instantly vaporized by the nuke. This is the San Francisco bombing we mentioned earlier, and this is Jacket's motive for killing the Russian mafia. It's a way of getting revenge on the people who killed all of his friends. He never knew that it was 50 blessings behind the phone call, but honestly I don't think he cared. Beard is the best character in the game. Act 5 is sadly the weakest in the game in terms of gameplay. It's 4 levels as usual, but unlike the rest of the game, the levels, with the exception of the final one, are a little bit small and fast. Evan gets a phone call and picking it up, it's Richter, the only playable character in the entirety of the 5th act. This level gives Richter a little more humanity. He isn't as evil as we thought he is. He did all of this because he, like us, was forced to, and because he was looking after his mom. First Blood doesn't really have much to show. There are about 10 enemies that will instantly rush you down. You can hit one, pick up a melee weapon and kill them off. Then pick up a shotgun and pick off the rest. That is about it. There is genuinely not much more to say about the level. Also, if you're wondering why Richter doesn't start off with his silenced Uzi, it's because the developers thought it made the levels too easy. As compensation, he fires silenced pistols 20% faster than other players. And that's the problem with Act 5. There isn't much to say. Richter goes to a place, kills all the Russians, and leaves. Richter goes to look after his mom. The second level starts immediately after. Demolition is slightly harder than First Blood, since the beginning is a room full of mobsters and a fat guy. You have to circle towards him to get towards the gun and shoot him. It requires very quick reactions. There are also a ton of enemies here, but since they are all separated, they're kinda easy to pick off. See what I mean? It's just too short. I feel bad for the musicians, since the music that plays is wonderful, but the level ends so fast that you don't really get to hear it. Back at home, Richter's mom tried to take a bath by herself but fainted. He picks her up and takes her to bed. The third day comes and it's the same. House Call is the last level with Russians in it. Denton knew this since it's literally a Hotline Miami 1 level. I am not kidding, it even has the old art style. It's still pretty easy, so let's just move on. Back at Evan's house, he got up to get another notepad. This happens after Richter kills girlfriend, gets arrested, and later sent to a federal prison. Then he gets a unique visit. It's Jonathan and Dennis, the janitors from the first game and Agents of 50 Blessings. Release is the final level in Act 5 and one of the best levels in the whole game. Richter gets into a prison brawl with the boss of the prison. If he catches you, it's an instant death. In order to dodge him, you have to circle strafe him like we did earlier with Biker. After doing this twice, a prisoner, most likely out of pity, gives us a pipe. That can be good. So we enter the main hall and guess we aren't going that way. Going straight ahead, we enter the guard's office. It's full of glass windows and firearms. Pick off the ones near the entrance and shoot your way through the rest. Also, it's preferable to have a melee weapon for this next part, in order to quickly clear out the first half. Then get a gun and shoot the rest. Richter changes into a guard's outfit and the next room is full of prisoners. How wonderful. The deadliest being the Psychos. An enemy that's immune to firearms and will instantly charge you, bashing your head against the floor constantly. They have terrible hitboxes, my brother in Christ. How? So killing them first is a must. However, if you throw a melee weapon at them, they will actually just revert back to normal prisoners. So that's good. The final area is the cafeteria. And before we enter, I want you to picture this. Richter has been constantly threatened. He's been constantly forced to kill against his will, and now he's fighting for survival. This man has been through so much, and this is the level where it all comes out. He has to get out. He has to take care of his mother. In other words, he has to release himself. thus ends one of the best levels in the whole game. Leaving the now massacred prison, the SWAT team mistakes us for a guard and we leave. You can read a note from your wife here. The game now gives you two options: continue writing or call your family, abandoning the book in the process. This only affects the ending, and in either way, Act 5 ends. Act 6 is the final act in the game. It starts off with the Russians' hideout again. We now play as the Sun, the final new playable character. Going down to his Firebird car, we go to the club. Seeger is a perfect example of who the Sun is and what his playstyle is. For starters, the difficulty spike skyrockets at this level. The first style you have is the bodyguard style, inherited from the bodyguard, who I assume is his mother. It gives him the ability to dodge roll and a unique katana, which by the way was originally intended for Corey but later cut out and given to the Sun. I don't know why. This level is very dark and there's even an enemy that's hidden plain sight. After clearing the first room, the second room is the real challenge, because of the goddamn invisible dogs. Due to the lighting, the dogs aren't really that clear, they are almost invisible, but the music gives you an adrenaline rush that just forces you to act. Clearing the second room, you have to throw your katana away and pick up a shotgun, then enter the changing room, where for some reason there are 3 fat guys there. I don't want to know what they were doing in the changing room. An absolutely great level that's both challenging and so satisfying to speedrun. Completing this gives you the dirty hands skill, melee only, no guns, just like Tony. Back at the hideout, the Sun is talking to the henchman. Despite being a merciless mafia boss, he treats his mobsters surprisingly well. The henchman takes the money and, as we know, later on dies. We instantly move to the second level, now with new henchmen. The Sun is planning something big, and we'll soon find out what it is. Blood Money is the only chapter in the Sun's story where you can't choose a style. Going to the front of the bank, things are normal until... Welcome back to my favorite game, Payday 2. Like you expect, the guards will instantly start attacking. Due to the long corridors, you have to use a firearm. After clearing the guards and going up, you will find one of your mobsters taking cover. This area is really difficult since not only are the guards hiding, but there is Colombians shooting you as well. After clearing the second room, there is only one more room to go, with Colombians being on top and guards being down. A silenced pistol can clear this area really well. With the entire bank dead, the Sun enters the vault. The Sun clearly has issues with trying to uphold his father's role as the head of the mafia. Even though he's already dead, he feels like he can't do anything but live on in his father's footsteps. Completing this level gives you the Sun's final style. Bloodline. The bullet that he's wearing actually is a bullet that his father committed suicide with. Engraved on it is the date of showdown. It gives him 2 MP5s, just like Mark. Surprisingly, we control Pardo, not the Sun. Back at Pardo's apartment, he goes to sleep. Pardo is completely losing it at this point. I'm sure you're confused, so I'll explain later. For now, focus on the game, and this level is very good because it is the only level where Pardo doesn't start off with a gun, and you can feel how helpless he is. You have to actively fight until you get a gun, but with a gun in hand, the rest of the level is simple. It was all just a dream, and the level ends. This level reveals that Pardo is a Miami mutilator, something that wasn't exactly being hidden. The serial killer he pretended to search for the entire game, his sole purpose being fame. The puppet in his dreams symbolizes that out of all the characters in the game, Pardo is one of the most insane, because while everyone else has some sort of motive, Pardo is doing it purely just for fame. And in the end, the Miami mutilator is not mentioned by anyone but him, showing that he has completely failed. This was actually foreshadowed in Act 2 when he was gloating about it to Evan. Some of you may know this already, but Manny Pardo is actually the name of a real-life police officer turned serial killer. Except that in real life, he quote-unquote wanted to rid Florida of drugs by killing drug dealers and buyers. Much like the Hotline Miami one, he too was kinda insane. After the level ends, Pardo goes back to the Russians' hideout for some reason, I don't know why. Pardo has connections to the mafia, possibly explaining why he sent Evan there, to try and get him killed, since he might have known the truth. Transitioning back to the sun, he's beating a Colombian to death, while discussing his plan. There's an air of unhinged energy, which you'll soon find out why. Takeover is technically the final level in Act 6, and technically the whole game. but not really. The Sun infiltrates the Colombian headquarters to wipe them out, an absolute suicide mission. The bloodline style is great here, since you can split your aim and perfectly kill the first floor. Just spin in circles. Don't do this actually, this is horrible. There is also a unique Colombian dodger here with a katana. Like all dodgers, he's immune to firearms and can only be killed using melee weapons. The music is great here because it really makes you feel how insane this all is, taking on the whole place by yourself. The second floor is slightly more forgiving, allowing you to snipe people from afar, but it's still hard. But if you're using melee only, this is way more hard, because the second floor contains more long corridors. There now remains only the third floor. Having killed the entire building by himself, the Sun confronts the Colombian boss once and for all. The Colombian mafia is no more. The Sun's plan has worked. They won. With Act 6 done, there is only one ending left. Apocalypse, the final level in Hotline Miami. Please don't. This level happens the same day as Death Wish. The same message Ash hears on the phone, and later on, they raid the base. The Sun overdoses on LSD and starts hallucinating. body going into autopilot from all of the killings that he has been committed, he starts slaughtering his own henchmen, who he imagines as demons. I have genuinely never seen pixel art this trippy before. How did they do it? Up ahead, he encounters some mobsters hiding before he... This just keeps getting worse. With his murder spree complete, the son imagines himself entering the gates of Valhalla. But as we all know, he's hallucinating, so that means, in reality, you can actually find his dead body on the outro of Death Wish, and the credits roll. A bizarre end to a bizarre game. But there is one more hidden post-credits scene. It's Richter and his mom in Hawaii. If you let Evan write his book, the dialogue slightly changes. gets vaporized by the nuke that hits Miami. And that is the true ending to Hotline Miami. I'm sure a lot of people are upset by this ending. Some say it's pointless. We go through all of this just for everyone we play to have died. But honestly, it is perfect. It is exactly how this all should have happened. It is exactly how this should have ended. Others say we should have stopped the nuke from dropping, which, no, with the exception of Biker and Jake, literally no one else knew who 50 Blessings are. The general would have still assassinated the president and the nuke would have still dropped. The point of the game was never to stop 50 Blessings. Now you might ask, what is the point? And this is my point of view. The game's point is how people who live in violence will most definitely end in violence. Jacket, the Sun, the fans, Jake, Manny, they all die alone, never knowing who even killed them. But Richter, Evan, and Beard, the three best characters in the game who hated violence and when they weren't first to commit it, immediately stop, all have the best endings. Beard opens his convenience store and can finally rest before getting killed. Evan, who if you choose to call his wife, will die happily in his family's arms without a care in the world. And Richter, who got personally comforted by Richard and finally managed to see his mom again. These are the only characters in the game that do so. If you still somehow don't get it, I highly recommend Squatch Gaming's video on the full timeline. But this video is already long enough, so let's wrap it up with some bonus content. Starting with secrets. In the beginning of Subway, you can pick up the phone, even though there isn't anything that signals this. Now play through the level normally and instead of leaving to Richter's house, you arrive here. The Bar of Broken Heroes, based on a real-life painting featuring all of the playable characters, and sitting near the bar is none other than Biker himself. Now this obviously isn't canon, since Beard and Jake should be dead by this point. It's just an Easter egg to explain where Biker was. Despite him and Jacket not being playable in the game, they actually do have playable models in the level editor, and some people even have made custom levels using it. However, half of Jacket's masks don't work, which leads me to believe that they were cut from the game very early on. The second secret level is the Abyss, accessed if you took the floppy disk from Jake's belongings at the end of withdrawal. Evan goes to a photocopy shop and decrypts the contents. Going to the location, it's an abandoned 50 Blessings base, which is eerily empty. At the end of it, this happens. It's a great callback to the Hotline Miami 1 masks. Again, this level has zero plot relevancy and it's just there for fun. It is also insane if you try to do it as a pacifist. It's so hard. When you leave all of the empty rooms, they will now be full of enemies. There's nothing really special, and once you beat it, the story continues normally. But this technically qualifies as an evil level. And such, if you beat all 3 levels while being a pacifist, you'll get the achievement Don't Let the Anger Get the Best of You. The final secret in the game isn't actually a secret, but it's hard mode. If you try and click new game, this happens. This is the table sequence, where all of the playable characters get judged by Richard himself, the Grim Reaper of Hotline Miami. After everyone dies, Richard plays a movie, which is the start to Midnight Animal. You are now in hard mode, symbolized by the colors changing from orange and green to pink and blue. This is something that Denethor regrets adding since the game was already hard enough, and a lot of people complained about this. Hard mode removes the ability to lock on, completely reverses the level, destroying any kind of pattern that you may have memorized, reworks some levels to have more enemies. All guns now have only 30% of their original clip size, and if you throw guns, they now lose ammo. Hotline Miami 2 is the last game in the series. Apart from the fact that, everyone dies in the end, Denethor confirmed that there will never be a Hotline Miami 3. Instead, they added a level editor, saying to pretty much make your own Hotline Miami 3. Users can upload their custom campaigns on the Steam marketplace. Now, there are a ton of levels, so I'll just show you my favorite ones. Custom levels in Hotline Miami are two things. Either serious campaigns that try to tell a full story similar to the main game, or complete meme levels.
I have come to say the N-word. No, Spy, don't do it! Don't say the N-word! Nigga!
Starting off with the serious ones is White House Down by Don Rigoberto. Remember that news story at the end of the game? They said that the general assassinated the president. Well, here you actually get to play as a general in this mod, complete with Brandon, Louis, Rufus, Oscar. It's my favorite campaign, especially the ending. It's too good. Finishing off with I Was Born in the USA. I kinda wish this was a secret level instead of Abyss. Moving on is Wild Thing by Doom, a 16 level campaign focusing on Corey. It is honestly a great campaign that has fans get indirectly involved with Manny's killings and the Russian Mafia. It also has some great sprite edits. My favorite being this tag team level where Corey and Alex unwind by killing enemies, but they remodeled Alex and Ash's model so it looks like Corey and Alex. Very good stuff. Next is Katana by Gazy, with help from Gort and Katana772. You play as a woman, Katana herself, who at first gets her cat Luna stolen and goes on a killing spree to find her. But when she comes home, she finds Luna waiting for her, alongside a woman named Cassandra, who tries to blackmail her to do some jobs. It's a pretty short campaign, but the music is great. It has actually good looking characters in a game where most people look depressed, and the ending is very well done. Cassandra gets kidnapped by the Russians, and Katana pretends like she's gonna kill her, but she just fools them into letting their guard down. There's an entire genre of backstory levels like Innocent, Blessed Redux, Wild Style, Croak, Carnal Pain, One-Shots, Marked, that try to give backstories to the animal masks you wear. And of course, I can't mention custom campaigns without the iconic Hunter trilogy by the Lego Mag. Consisting of Hunter Red Star, Snowfall, and Brotherhood, they tell the story of Hotline Miami but through the perspective of the Russians. It has one of the best stories and sprite edits in the entire modding community. If you want to watch them all, the creator uploaded the entire story on his channel, which I have linked below. But be warned, it is a hefty 3 hours of high quality storytelling. And now to the meme levels. For some reason, and I don't know why, Manny Pardo is a complete meme in the modding community. The most iconic one I can think of is Hotline Miami, one of the funniest campaigns in the workshop, where for some reason, Biker is a woman, Manny converts Evan into a part of the SOT patrol, and the son has supreme glasses. It's honestly a hilarious campaign that I highly recommend. Next we have Tony Maid Service, which is as cursed as you imagine. The N-word, where Pardo fights racism itself, and of course, those campaigns. Finally, all that's left is crossover content. Payday 2 X Hotline Miami collab is probably the best example. Not only did it popularize Jacket and his cassette tape, which is used as a backup for the fact that Jacket is silent, Jacket is beloved in the Payday 2 community, since he is one of the few characters that can reliably counter cloakers, and enemies that can instantly kill you. Dead Cells, which has the iconic bat from the game and a Jacket skin which changes the damage numbers, and Angerfoot, where you can fight Jacket. There are more examples like Ghost Runner, but honestly, I think that's enough. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the legacy of Hotline Miami. Thank you for watching.